Hey guys, I want to address this. I have a lot of disabled, chronically ill, chronic pain patients, and people that suffer with mental disorders like OCD, bipolar disorder, Asperger's. And the reason there's so many on my channel is because they get judged everywhere. And I want you to look at this biblically and with compassion. And I want you to, if you've never endured chronic pain, I don't know how to explain it other than this. I'm doing great right now, but for years I have endured I wake up and my first waking thought is first thing. And it's like that all day long. And I'm so grateful I'm able to function now. I have doctors that care for me and I take medication. Well, there's so many Christians that condemn people for taking medication for their mental disorder or physical pain, and it's just wrong. Because flesh is flesh. We're not talking about people getting loaded and, strung out on drugs. We're not talking about that. We're talking about people that need medication to function, to deal with a physical issue. Now, I have had a miraculous healing with my kidneys. My kidneys were in full failure and they started working again. So I know God can heal. But I also know God can use these things to teach us more empathy and care for others and how to be more Christ-like through our compassion and mercy. So it's really wrong and ugly because you don't realize when somebody lives in constant pain, they wake up that day. They're never comfortable. Not only are they in pain, but they lose their financial stability because they can't work. They lose their social interaction. You don't want to see people. You hurt constantly. You don't want to hear about stupid things. You're like, that's a problem and I'm in agony right now. You can't even relate because you're hurting so badly. You don't want to be around people and you don't want to bum them out either. So you have that guilt and that burden that you can't be a good friend to people because you just hurt too much. And then you have your emotional standing. You can't take it. You don't want to live. So please try to put yourself in that kind of situation, not for a little while, 24 hours a day with no end in sight. And that's why there's so many people on my channel, because they go elsewhere and they're judged for taking medication just so that they can function. I wouldn't be able to walk. I wouldn't be able to care for my son. And I couldn't for a long time. I needed help from family and all kinds of stuff because I couldn't do it. It was horrific. Now I've gotten so much better. I still live in chronic pain, but it's manageable now. But it has taught me such compassion and empathy. And I'm so disappointed and so heartbroken. I have so many of you that suffer, and I want you to know I get it. I get it. And I'm so sorry that other people are compounding your pain. And for those, I've been put in psych places before because of attempted suicide. So I know about struggling with depression. Now I don't take meds anymore for anxiety or depression or sleep, but it took a long time for me to get off of it. And I don't judge you for being on it. I felt it was the right time and I had gotten some progress and things, and I'm dealing with that. But don't ever stop your medication abruptly because you think you're doing something wrong by taking medication your doctor gave you. And if you're chronically ill or in pain, people take short-term narcotic medication when they have surgery or something. Well, because that pain's really severe. Imagine having that pain all the time and you're telling that person that the doctor that gave them medicine, they can't take the medication that lets them think clearly. We're supposed to be sober minded. That doesn't mean not drunk. That means we have a sound mind. You can't have a sound, peaceful mind if you're constantly in agony. It's wrong of people to judge people that aren't living in that kind of pain. And I can't tell you how often people come on here because people that hate me have gone out and said, Renee takes this, Renee takes that. You don't know what I take. I admit I take medication, but you don't know what I take. Why are you so obsessed with what I take for my medication? And you shouldn't judge it. If you've never lived through it, you have no right to tell other people. And I'm broken to see my viewers struggling, already suffering so much. And then to have so-called Christians come along and torment them and tell them that God is angry at them. Let me show you I'm asking for some compassion and common sense here. We're supposed to be different than the world, but we seem to be worse. We're less compassionate, less forgiving, less merciful. And I fear this because most professing Christians have never received God's grace. Because those forgiven much love much. And that's why you hate the real gospel so much, because you think you're more deserving of it. But you haven't received God's grace because you don't think you need it, because you think you're good. 1 Timothy 5:23. Drink no longer water, but use a little wine for thy stomach's sake and thine often infirmities. This was a chronic, often condition, and he was told to drink a little wine. That was medicinal for his problem, for comfort. There is nothing wrong with taking something for the flesh. That which is flesh, that which is spirit. So we need to show some compassion and love. There was somebody in John MacArthur's teen group, that was told they were sinning and didn't have enough faith, so they told to stop taking their mental illness medication, and they killed themselves. His ministry has been sued a couple of times for this. How about you just let the doctors and God deal with that? You have no right diagnosing or anything somebody's medical condition. What you need to be doing is praying for them. And if you can't come over and lay your hands on them and heal them miraculously, then shut up about it. Because people are saying, well, if you had enough faith, you'd be healed. Okay, great. Come over here with your great faith and lay hands on them and heal them. Because it's just hypocrisy. And if you can't do that, then bear their burden and show compassion and mercy. There are so many people contacting me suffering so much that I needed to speak out and let you know you are not alone, sister. You are not alone, brother. You know who you are. And I am so sorry. People have added to your pain and your misery. Let me read you some verses on how we should be dealing with this. I shouldn't have to tell anyone that's got the Holy Spirit in them to be compassionate, but I'm going to. Ephesians 4:32. And be ye kind one to another, tenderhearted, forgiving one another, even as God for Christ's sake has forgiven you. I'm not seeing that. 1 Peter 3:8. Finally, be ye all of one mind, having compassion one of another. Love as brethren. Be pitiful. Be courteous. Not seeing any of that. Colossians 3:12. Put on therefore as the elect of God, holy and beloved, bowels of mercies, kindness, humbleness of mind. You do not know everything they're going through, and you don't understand all the physical issues here. So let's have some humbleness of mind on the issue, okay? And allow people to deal with it without you condemning them and adding to their misery and pain. Aren't we supposed to bear one another's burdens, as it says? There's, let me see here. Here it is, Galatians 6:2. Bear ye one another's burdens, and so fulfill the law of Christ. What's that? Love. If it's not loving, don't say it. If you can't help someone, don't say it. It's horrific to someone that suffers constantly, no end in sight to the suffering. You already have lost finances, social issues, emotional, spiritual, mental, and physical pain constantly, and you got somebody condemning you for the little bit of comfort that you do get so that you can just function in your daily life. It's evil, and it's self-righteous, and it's ugly. No one should have to tell you that. But this has gotten so bad. I've gotten so many messages. I'm just going through my emails. I'm months behind. Plus the messages I get via text. It breaks my heart to see people suffering and then being scared they're doing something wrong for taking the medication that allows them to function in their life. Galatians 5:22. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith. Where is this? Edify one another, comfort one another, minister to one another, bear one another's burdens. Can't you just love people? Do you got to condemn and judge them in their worst need? I've been a victim of this. I've been condemned and mocked and had videos edited together of me while grieving for my son's father's death and going into the hospital and all, clips edited together, just terrible about me. And it's horrible. It's a horrible thing to do. And I don't want to see anyone else suffer any more than they already do. So let me just say, if you are suffering, if you are disabled, if you are in chronic pain, if you have to take medication, if you have mental issues, if you're OCD, if you're Asperger's, if you have any of these issues, anxiety disorders, you are welcome on my channel and I will never judge you. But I will bear your burden and let you know I get it. And I'm so sorry you're suffering. If I could do anything to take your comfort, to give you comfort and to take that from you, I would. But what I can give you is empathy. I understand. I too have suffered. Right now, at this moment in my life, I'm doing so much better. But I have been there and I have suffered for years from it. And I'm so, so sorry. Let us try to be more Christ-like, since it's Christ's name we claim to carry. God bless.